Sailing is officially announced for November 19th. That is less than 4 weeks away from today. I am pretty excited. I mean, I knew this day was coming. They were very, very stern on releasing Sailing before 2026, and they've kept their word so far. It hasn't actually launched yet. Who knows? There might be a delay, but I'm very excited for this. There's a juicy blog that I have not even glanced at yet, so this is all going to be probably reiterated information that we've already heard over previous blogs. But before we jump into this, I know you guys have been wanting these little drink reviews back. So we got a Juneberry sugar-free Red Bull. Can you guys even see that? It's so shiny. But let's take a little sip, give it a little rating. Why not? Oh yeah, ice cold. This is a good one. This is a really good one to mix Chobani extra creamy oat milk. I know there's probably some of you like, what the fuck did you just say? Listen, Chobani extra creamy oat milk. Mix a little bit, like a quarter cup in like a can, like an 8-ounce can of this. It turns it into like a smoothie vibe. And if you have some little coconut syrup, add a splash of that. It's fucking perfection. So let's jump into this beautiful blog. Oh my God. Sailing launches November 19th. Look at this. It's so shiny. Look at the little image right here. Sailing launches November 19th. After 3 years of design, discussion, and community collaboration, we're thrilled to announce that Sailing, Old School RuneScape's first new skill, is launching on November 19th at 10 UTC. Please note the exact timing of launch on the day might move and will be explained in further detail in our next Sailing blog. Sailing unlocks new content found at sea. Own and upgrade your very own boat, and as you hone your skills, you'll reach previously uncharted areas. It's a historic moment for the team and, of course, our wonderful community. From early skill concepts throughout refinement, playtesting, and polls, this has been a skill shaped directly with you. Let's talk about what you can expect from Sailing, what's still on the horizon, and how you can help influence development in 2026 and beyond. So again, as always, these blog posts will be linked in the description. So if you guys want to check out the official video, be sure to check it out there. Sailing is a massive update. We call it our project of projects. It's bigger and more expansive than any content that's come before it. As a new skill, it touches almost every aspect of the game, giving you brand new ways to choose to play. Old School RuneScape has always been about player autonomy and decision making. Build your own adventure your way. Sounds like Subway. Sailing is going to offer... Wait, no, that was BK. What, Burger King, does that have it your way? Yeah, Burger King. Jesus. Burger King sucks. Come on. Can I get an amen down in the chat? That place sucks. Used to be good as a kid. I think everything was good as a kid, though. Sailing is going to offer you new goals and fresh ways to progress without taking away what already makes our game so special. We want to reassure you that Sailing won't change what you already love about Old School RuneScape. It's here to enhance your experience, not replace it. We're confident that it will feel like a natural extension of Gielinor, something that could have existed right from the very beginning. Although we've shared lots of details about Sailing throughout its development, there are still so many things to discover when it comes to the game. Throughout our public and NDA playtests, we've continued to iterate on what we can do to improve, and we can't wait to see you all jump in for the very first time. It has been one of the greatest privileges to work on a project like this, from early concepts to alpha and then beta. It's almost time. We'd like to extend a huge thanks to every single person who has been involved in playtesting or feedback, both publicly and behind the scenes. Your work has been invaluable. We're confident that we've created something special here, and it is our sincere hope that when the community tries Sailing on launch day, players will feel like Sailing has always belonged in Gielinor. That's pretty good to hear. Our community is the reason why our game is incredible, and it goes without saying that your feedback will continue to guide how we develop Sailing, especially after launch. We've got some cool ideas in mind for what's to offer in 2026, and we want to help shape next year and beyond. But before we dive into that, let's break down exactly what features you can expect to see when Sailing launches on November 19th. Warning: if you've been reading the blogs and watching our videos on Sailing over the course of development, you might already be well-versed in what's coming to Sailing. You can skip to the next section here. So we will obviously cover everything on this because I do want to give the whole recap to all of you. So let's take a look. What's included in Sailing? Shipbuilding and upgrades. With the required sailing level, you can own up to 5 boats at any time. Upgrade your boat at the shipyard with stronger components and powerful facilities that can aid you on your sailing journey. There are 3 sizes of boats available: the raft, small boat, and large boat. You can use construction to build facilities or simply pay a shipwright who can build most of the basic facilities. Crew and multiplayer. Choose from 10 NPCs across Gielinor and ask them to join your crew. Remember, if your friends are online, they can also join you too. Maximum of 5 crewmates or friends can join you at any time, helping to manage your facilities and help keep things smooth sailing. Ship combat. The sea is teeming with new creatures and aquatic wildlife, but unfortunately, most of them won't greet new faces very kindly. Better be safe than sorry, we say. Why not build yourself a cannon facility on your boat? Ship combat has been designed to work very similarly to how combat works on land, so don't expect raid level mechanics just yet. Thankfully, you'll be able to repair your boat using repair kits at a shipwright's workbench found near all shipwrights. Go nuts. Damn, look at this Giga Chad right here. Yeah. Sailing gameplay, just like clicking rocks to mine ores or logs to burn a fire, the core gameplay loop for sailing is nice and simple. Earn sailing XP by successfully interacting with facilities on your boat. The simplest example of the loop is trimming your sails. You'll get a burst of XP and a nice little speed boost. Wow. Or not wow. Now, it would be rather sad if that was how you're expected to train sailing all the way to 99. So we've developed 4 sailing training methods as well as a hybrid sailing fishing training method. Here's what's coming. Port tasks. Use your boat as a service to NPCs around Gielinor who need your help. You'll unlock access to the port notice boards and docks once you hit their respective required sailing levels. You can choose to help NPCs deliver cargo from A to B courier tasks, or take down a threat at sea and deliver the proof to an NPC bounty tasks. Store up to 5 port tasks at any one time with the required sailing level. We recommend taking and completing them alongside other activities on your sailing journey. Shipwreck salvaging. Turn others' misfortune into your own benefit. There are many sunken ships out there that still contain valuables. It doesn't feel like old school RuneScape without at least one activity you can do with a streaming service on your third monitor, right? To get your AFK gains in, we've developed a relaxing training method called shipwreck salvaging, or the sweaty method, the Hebox Jongs or the Ebox Yongs methods where you're just sweating salvaging. Actually, it's like the 1.5 ticking of shooting stars, which I'm actually doing right now. You could sweat the literal fuck out of this rock if I wanted to. You can take your salvage back to port to the port to sort them into useful materials too. Sea charting. Using your captain's log, you can document, chart, and study areas of the sea that were previously undiscovered. Spot something cool at sea, go and chart it. Explore Gielinor like you've never seen it before and interact with the world in a completely new way. This type of activity earns you one-time chunks of XP. When you complete an area, you'll receive an additional chunk of XP and specific rewards, including some interesting sailing upgrades. Barracuda Trials. The Barracudas are a ragtag crew of seafaring adventurers united by their love of the open ocean. Fiercely competitive and always up for a challenge, they've turned their passion into sport, testing their skills against one another in thrilling sea-based time trials to see who truly rules the waves. At launch, sailing will feature 3 Barracuda trials: the Temper Tantrum, Jubbly Jive, and Gwyneth Glide. Each trial offers you the chance to prove your mettle, rise through the ranks, and earn the respect of Barracudas themselves. Conquer their challenges, and you could bag yourself a nice chunk of sailing XP and some very snazzy rewards indeed. Please note that the Barracuda trials are intended to award high amounts of sailing XP, provided you can play them mechanically well. Deep sea trawling. When you sail far out at sea, you'll find fish that you cannot find near the shores. Building a trawling net facility on your boat allows you to access these fish, so you can earn a mix of sailing and fishing XP. You can look forward to plenty of new and exotic fish on launch, which can then be transformed into powerful foods or herbal ingredients. Quests. Sailing launches with brand new quests. If you took part in the Sailing Alpha or Beta, you may already be familiar with Pandemonium, the introductory quest for sailing. This is designed to teach you the ropes, no pun intended. Our most anticipated sailing quest, Troubled Tortugans, introduce a new race called the Tortugans. The Tortugans are under threat by the Griffins, and they need your help. You'll meet them when you sail over to the Great Conch. A follow-up quest, the Red Reef, is planned to launch sometime later next year. More information on this will be shared below. New areas. We're not going to reveal much about our new islands you'll discover with sailing, since we want to preserve some of the magic on launch. But to give you an idea of scale, there are over 30 new islands being added with the launch of sailing, some of which come with new dungeons, and it's all coming at once with room to expand later. It's pretty exciting. The team has put a huge amount of work into environmental storytelling, and we can't wait to see you all jump in. Who will be the first to discover these mysterious places? We're going to get a new Helmet of the Moon. It's going to be Helmet of the Sea, right? Helmet of the CDs, right? Anybody? No. New resources. Perhaps the most exciting of all, many new resources are being added to sailing. Bank space will be increased, and you'll be able to gather new items like logs, oars, rocks, fish, seeds, fabrics, and more. Check out the skilling and resources blog for more details, as all of them will be available with the launch of sailing, except the incendiary and chain shot cannonballs, both planned for later. Look at these little pirates. These ants? What the literal fuck? Interesting. I like how they have the old school model of rocks and then like these new school like RS4 looking rocks, you know, with the little veins. No, it's fine. New training methods. When you unlock access to new islands, you might stumble upon an awesome new way of training another skill. We've carefully designed these new training methods to fill current gaps in progression. All new training methods listed in the Skilling and Resources blog and the Slayer blog will be included at launch. Some notable new training methods include crab hunting, lantern fishing, blowpipe fletching, and pirate thieving. Unique items. Your boat opens the door to countless quality of life improvements, both on and off the water. If you've built the right facilities, you can upgrade and customize up to 5 boats, each tailored to your playstyle, and add unique cosmetics to show off your achievements to other players out at sea. Unlock new dock teleport locations using the Teleport Me to Boat spell, or simply set sail directly to your destination. We completely acknowledge that many players will continue to prefer using traditional teleports for fast travel, and that's okay. Sailing, either directly or via teleports unlocked via the skill, can offer an ideal option for certain situations. If not, it will still offer plenty of rewards outside of traversal. The Gleaming Rapier, now called Bell's Folly. What? Actually, that was probably a good call. I think the rapier, people had concerns of it being like a slow 5-tick weapon, and rapiers are supposed to be pointy and fast. And then somebody like debunked that. They're like, well, they are quick, but you know, takes a little bit to wind up or something like that. 5-tick powerful Bell's Folly. Belly's Folly. I like that. Belly Folly. No, Bell's Folly is a brand new 5-tick powerful stab weapon providing an alternative to the Zamorakian Hosta without completely eclipsing it. The Horn of Plenty is another powerful account upgrade, allowing you to gather resources at an improved rate and providing a boost to your hunter level. More rewards were mentioned as a part of our latest blog, so go check that out, as they will be all available on launch. What could 2026 sailing updates look like? 2026 is set to be a very exciting year. We're not going to reveal details in this blog, since we typically do so via the Winter or Summer Summit live stream reveals. However, we get lots of questions and suggestions about how sailing will expand after launch. So we'd like to share a quick preview of our current thoughts. All of this may change. You may all have different wishes once you've gotten to grips with sailing after all. So please don't see any of it as being set in stone. Early 2026, the Red Reef, second Tortugan quest, a new type of port task. The Red Reef is the second quest in the Tortugan storyline, which is planned to be added to sailing in early 2026. We've also got ideas in mind for a third and final quest as part of this series. However, plans around this are much more vague due to the quest being being further away from release. Summer 2026, small scale boss at sea, player designed island. Ooh, player design shit. Okay. As sailing is such a community-driven project, we initially planned for a player-designed island to be a part of the launch package. However, as we got further into the project, we realized that players need to have a good idea of what sailing is and several existing island reference points to be able to design something within our specifications. The player-designed island competition should kick off shortly after launch when you've all had a chance to get your hands on the content. This will allow you to explore the area and see what already exists before adding your own ideas. We cannot wait to see what amazing ideas you all come up with. Autumn 2026, new Barracuda trial, sequel quest, existing storyline. And late 2026, Sea expansion. The updates we've suggested for early 2026 would be relatively quick for us to implement, which is why we could offer them so soon after the skills launch. Anything else like the player design island or a new sea boss will need more time for its unique code and graphics. So we'll offer those later on. Also, we think a new type of port task would be welcomed as variety after Christmas. What could further sailing updates include? Now that we've covered generally what's included in sailing, we wanted to take a moment to acknowledge any content or feature that was discussed by the team during development or refinement that might be missing. Some features might have been cut, moved, or simply not selected for the initial sailing launch for specific reasons. Some might be too large in scope, or others may require further design discussions or community input. We won't go into too many details here, but here's a quick note on where we're at. Ship PvP. We absolutely love the idea of PvP battles with ships at sea. Thematically, it hits the spot, and it's something that could really bring the sea to life. This is the feature mentioned during pre-production of the skill, and isn't something that was ever planned for launch, however, or considering it would be such a huge undertaking. However, the technical work to make it viable someday has been done, and we're confident that it could happen from a technical perspective. We intend to investigate ship PvP at some point in the future, depending on player interest, desirability, and other things the game needs. There's a section later in this blog detailing how we'll analyze player feedback, so keep reading to find out more. Colossal boats. Colossal boats were a massive party-sized boat initially planned for the launch of sailing. Unfortunately, their sheer size were too large for fluid navigation, and we didn't see a clear gameplay use for it other than it being social friendly. While we love this aspect, we wanted to focus on the core of the skill before expanding into extra content territory. That's not to say we can't introduce them in the future, perhaps even without changing the movement system. It just means they would take a smaller role in gameplay, being more of a nice-to-have feature. We're happy with the current sizes of boats, and we'd like to allow players to get used to their navigation until we look to add anything larger. So this feature is currently not in development. I think I was talking to one of the J-mods on the casts several months ago, talking about like a fucking party yacht, like just your yacht out in the fucking middle of the ocean, and it's just gilded. It's like pimped out. It's got some demon thrones and shit on it. And man, that shit would be a clan party, like a fucking clan boat where like your whole clan has to collab to like pimp it out. Some like 50 fucking billion GP expense. Yeah, that'd be crazy. That'd be so cool. And then PvP it, like fucking cannon it down and explode it. Hybrid training methods. Sea monster hunting, sailing slayer, and mineral dredging, sailing mining were hybrid training methods discussed during the pre-production phase of sailing in this blog. When it came to creating the core sailing feature set, we decided to pick one hybrid training method, deep sea trawling, sailing fishing, and flesh it out completely to ensure it met our standards. There was another hybrid training method, coral farming, mentioned during pre-production, which was a sailing farming hybrid method. Since then, we've changed it to farming only activity, which will be a part of the launch. Further quests. Throughout development, we've had many requests from players to continue the popular and iconic pirate and penguin storylines. They could have very close ties into sailing, and we love the idea. In fact, Mod Ed has already started plans on where these stories could be taken. However, we didn't want to go overboard on quests at this stage, as it's important to focus on the skill itself. Additionally, we want feedback from players on what you want us to prioritize next year. Sailing Guild. We mentioned a sailing guild concept in our early pre-production phase for sailing. However, we have since determined that a guild is not needed for launch. Once players get their hands on the skill, we will likely have more of an idea of what such a place should unlock. There are no set plans for a sailing guild, but our early conversations have the team leaning towards making it Barracuda HQ, where you'll meet the leader of the Barracudas, an NPC called Mako. Interactive NPC ships. NPC ships have been added to sailing. However, in the future, we would like to make them have interactions with your ship. For example, to be plunderable or vice versa. No set plans have been made for this yet, as it will depend on feedback after launch. How will gather feedback? We've been looking at how player feedback will help to shape sailing even after its launch. Recently, we published a list of polling improvements, including ranked choice voting, the ability to use free text, and more. Around a week before sailing launches into the game, we will be sunsetting our dedicated sailing server and asking players to send feedback via our official OSRS Discord. We'd like to thank everyone within the Sailing Discord server for their continued support and feedback throughout development. However, as the content will be officially live by then, it makes sense to consolidate feedback in one single Discord server so we can monitor it better. When sailing launches, we're firstly going to focus on bugs, issues, and quality of life changes that we can add to the roadmap. Afterwards, we'll start looking at larger features and how your feedback will shape our overarching roadmap. We'll let you know about any changes to our roadmap during our regular Summit Reveal live streams. Developer testimonials. Oh, shit. Maud Elena, Senior Game Designer. Most excited for players to try? I can't wait to see players do the Troubled Tortugans quest and the surrounding content. The quest is the first one in the new Tortugans storyline, and it does a great job of showing how sailing can further the game. Firstly, narratively, by providing you access to a new storyline that you previously couldn't reach without sailing, but also in its reward space. You get to meet a brand new people, fight new creatures, farm corals, trap crabs. To me, it's the perfect example of how I'd like to see sailing expand Gielinor. Favorite piece of work? I'm incredibly proud of the team's hard work across the whole project. The highlights would probably be the customization system and Barracuda trials. The customization system is a solid system built to handle lots of customization options. It's easy to add to, and I can see us wanting to use it for plenty of reward space. The Barracuda trials have incredibly fun gameplay, and they all feel unique. Each trial is in a new place where the objective is strongly linked to the thematic of the area. It's really satisfying to push your limits and increase your own sailing skill. Not just the in-game number, but how accurate you click and how good you are at judging turning circles, speed, and distance. Launch tips. As tempting as it is to get into the sailing as fast as possible, don't spacebar the introductory quest. The Pandemonium quest teaches you the basics of sailing and contains a lot of useful information that you don't want to miss. Other than that, keep an eye out on the skill guide and level up messages to see when you unlock new upgrades to your boat. These are super important, similar to upgrading your gear. They change anything from resistances, allowing you to go to new seas, defenses to let you tank more damage, and even boat speed. Additionally, be up to date with quests. The Corsair Curse, Song of the Elves, and Children of the Sun can provide access to specific ports. Dragonslayer can help you get a new crewmate. There's bound to be more. These are just a few that will help. Mains, decide whether you want to make money or spend money on release. There's going to be a lot of new resources coming into the game with sailing. If you want to rush to 99, you should expect it to be costly until the new resource prices settle. If you want to make money, consider getting your sailing level up to a point where you can farm these resources that the people rushing are going to use. They will never be as valuable as they are on launch day. Iron, expect to do a lot more than just sailing. Upgrading your boat is key, but to do that, you'll need new resources. Grab your axe and get ready to chop some trees. Hardcore, let's go. Let's let others go first. The sea is dangerous. If you want to explore places no one's been yet, don't do it in this game mode. UIM, enjoy the cargo hold. Small but helpful detail. Crewmates unlock at level 40. Don't forget to recruit them. Okay. Mod Husky, Senior Game Designer. Most excited for players to try? Selfishly, I think I'm gonna say Barracuda Trials, since that's where most of my energy has been put into. That said, I really do hope that most players take time to enjoy charting to its fullest. I've had the heartiest chuckles reading through Mod Abe's code reviews and all the good old OSRS wit and humor he's included with that side of the skill. I'm sure absolutely none of our players are going to deprive themselves of that experience, clicking blue and holding spacebar stare. This is nobody's going to do that, right? It's so funny because like I'm exactly a player that clicks blue and holds spacebar, but with these blog posts, I am like reading every fucking word of it. I should translate this over to the actual game, at least for sailing. Favorite piece of work? Barracuda Trials being non-instanced is high up there. It's really cool seeing others sail around the place, making it feel alive. This also made tutorialization a pain since most cutscenes teleport the player around, and we can't do that outside of instances nicely. But thanks to some cool new engine tech, we've managed to include a nice flyover all Barracuda areas, which should make learning the ropes much easier. I'd also like to shout out the cool idea I had with deep sea trawling. The shoals themselves are actually using boat tech, with lots of smaller fish NPCs all moving around independently, but all moving together cohesively. It was such a cool moment to share that implementation with the team, and it's our first example of that tech being used for something other than boats. I'm excited to hear what the players think. Finally, thanks to some awesome work from Mod Lenny, the shipyard is now a real place in the world and not an instance like in the alpha and beta. It's going to be so cool seeing other players going around all at once fixing up their boats side by side. You won't see the other players' boats, of course, but I always like when the game feels more like an MMO. Launch tips. It's really important to read the Pandemonium quest is telling you about boat movement. Good foundation makes for smooth sailing later on. A tip I'd give to anyone is take your time. I know that launch day has many people rushing to train as high as they can, as fast as they can, and and to finish the skill. But as a maxed iron myself, I really do miss skilling grinds and the feeling of leveling up. OSRS is the game that truly embodies the message of it's about the journey, not the destination. I'm sure those who want to will get to 99 eventually. So take your time, explore the new content, try out different kinds of training methods. There's so much here to enjoy beyond just sitting at one training method until you're done. Mains. The boat building aspects of sailing are not intended to be cheap. We have new planks coming out and more expensive than mahogany, so make sure you've got some cash lying around, although you may want to wait for prices to settle and go for the second or third best option until they do. Irons. Don't think you're off the hook with not needing GP either. You may not be buying from other players, but if you haven't trained your construction, I'd get moving with that and make sure you've got money to convert new logs to planks. I'd also perhaps look at some of the forestry rewards like the sawmill voucher or ritual mulch to make nature's offerings. Both of these can help you get more mileage out of your time spent woodcutting. Farming to plant new hardwood trees and crafting to make new fabrics are also beneficial skills to keep in mind. UIM, be careful dying on islands which you don't have an easy way back to. You may have an hour, but having to get a boat together from scratch might not be the quickest thing, especially if it's surrounded by dangerous waters. Make sure you have a good money maker to pay the retrieval cost for your boats and have a second boat prepared. Damn, shit's dangerous. Small but helpful detail. You can trim your sails to go faster. You get the opportunity every 30 seconds or so. This sounds really, really obvious, but the amount of streamers or content creators I watched who were just staring at their screen not doing it was really surprising to me. Mod Abe, game designer. Most excited for players to try. Very selfish as I made it, but sea charting. Particularly some of the weirder drinks and harder mermaid puzzles. Just to see the reaction from players. Ooh. Favorite piece of work. The core boat movement just feeling as good as and polished as it does. Honestly, it is a feat of dark sorcery that the boat techs worked at all. I'd hate to think how many innocent souls were sacrificed to get it to work this well. Launch tips. Get yourself out on the sea and familiarize yourself with how the boat moves. If you can pair this with a bit of charting, a port task, or both, this will help ease you into the new mechanics. Also, a tip for any player, construction will be your biggest friend for sailing, so anything you can do to improve that before launch will help you. One, also for hardcores, let other people taste the drinks first. Some of them are quite potent. Oh no. Hidden gems. A lot of the islands with mooring points on them have plenty of small details and hidden features, so I'd encourage players to spend a little time on all of them to see what they offer. Mod Nin, Senior Game Systems Engineer. Most excited for players to try. I'm very proud of the movement system that we've created for the boats, and the best place to master it is at a Barracuda trial. Favorite piece of work? What an impossible question. For me, it's seeing the design team piece together all the different bits of engine tech that we made for sailing. You can build a boat from scratch, sail it around, park it at a port, and then it stays there even when you walk away. That persistence is a small detail, but really makes your boat feel real. Launch tips. Bring your cargo. It won't deliver itself. As the resident UIM, I must warn my bankless brothers that building a better boat is a bit hard on the old inventory. Perfectly doable, but might warrant a death bank or death pile whenever you want to upgrade. And if you have a problem with that, you can always downgrade. All right. God damn, I swear, like Hebox, just recent Sae Bae cast was trying to convince me of some of the fun of UIM or whatever. I swear he was very clear that UIM, if you're feeling UIM to any degree, then you'll like it. But if it already feels like you're not going to enjoy something like that, you probably won't. But he's just talking about death piles and how it's not really that big of a deal, but just the word death pile is just like triggering. It's like, I don't want to do that. Hidden gem. You can reverse your boat to get yourself out of almost any situation via the side panel. As long as you know this, you shouldn't be able to get stuck anywhere. Mod Curse, Principal QA Analyst. Most excited for players to try. Usually with something as grand as a new skill, I'd be pointing people in the direction of a specific training method. However, when it comes to sailing, I am more excited for people to just begin their journey exploring the ocean. This is a huge area of the game that's existed from the very beginning, but we've never had access to it. So enjoy the exploration. It isn't too often that we get to feel a breath of fresh air in something we've seen for such a long time. Favorite piece of work? The highlight of the skill has been having the boat movement itself feel very old school. An initial concern when playing around with the movement system was that we didn't want it to feel like you were jumping into a different game every time you boarded and disembarked from your boat. So when the current iteration of the boat movement and the direction system was implemented, it felt like it belonged in the game because we still have that click-to-move tile-based system. The engine team did an absolutely fantastic job with this, and I hope people can enjoy how smooth it feels on launch day. Launch tips. If you're a main account, enjoy the ride. Ironman, get working on those boat construction supplies when you can. Hardcore, be careful in drinking random finds at sea. They can be lethal. And ultimate, get a bank. Mod Libre, QA Analyst. Most excited for players to try salvaging. Partly because I suspect nobody will say salvaging. Partly because I'm a simple man who enjoys simple things. Smack tree, get wood. Smack shipwreck, get salvage, rejoice. Favorite piece of work, honestly, the core movement. We went through so many iterations of this long ago, and given how important that core movement feel is to many pieces of sailing, I'm glad we settled with this. Launch tips, mains and irons, prepare some general construction supplies. Hardcore, watch out for the sea drinks, fucking hell, and expired ones especially. UIM, sorry, no tips for you. You've chosen suffering. You already know what's coming, fuck. All right, this was nice. This was really refreshing, and it felt very structured. Well done, whoever designed this blog. I didn't even see any typos either. Fucking phenomenal. Wow. So we're under 4 weeks away from Old School's first ever new skill. It has been literally 12 and a half years since this game has been out, which is just wild to think. We're talking February 2013. Now it's November 2025, or it's October 2025, but it will be November. I'm excited about this. I know in many rambles and in many casts, I've been sort of that content creator that's kind of shitting on things and just sounding like a pessimist. But ultimately, I am very excited about sailing, dropping. I think it's very easy to nitpick little things. I can nitpick things not involving sailing. I mean, there's a lot of things I nitpick in this game, but I am also a player that feels like we're in the golden age of this game, and sailing is most likely going to enhance that feeling, I believe. And they've been so careful. Knowing that Madalena and Husky and others have been leading this project gives me so much fucking hope for the overall success of launch. And honestly, I'm excited to see some new series pop up, like sailing only series, some Tortuga Island or the Great Conch only island area, locked Ultimate Ironman. I'm very excited. And it honestly gives me a little bit of desire to like start a new account just for fun and kind of see what that's like to fully just like mesh sailing in with everything early game. But at the same time, I think this blog has also convinced me maybe to wait a little bit longer just because of what they're saying with like, you know, make sure you have a shit ton of money, make sure you have really high construction, make sure you have access to Song of the Elves and everything else. So, and also maybe it will be better to have metas sort of explored and fully discovered before jumping in and feeling like you're actually taking advantage of everything that sailing has to offer. And to be fair, we're going to just continually get more and more sailing stuff. So all that said, let me know what your guys' thoughts are down in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. Are you excited? Did you all expect it to be so close? I mean, I think this is what I was imagining sometime late November. I wasn't expecting December. December is usually when they're like no updates, just kind of chill out for Christmas. But man, it's exciting stuff. It is exciting. And it sounds like they're going to have one more blog coming up right beforehand, which I will definitely cover. So stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed this ramble. Check them all out on Spotify as well. Linked in the description. Give it a rating if you guys want to help support. And thank you all. And thanks all to the channel members as well. You guys are fucking legends. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. And I will catch you boys in the next one. Peace.